Good evening. Would like to call the Trotwood-Madison City School District special meeting Thursday, July 23rd, 2020, live stream via YouTube in accordance with COVID-19 recommendations at 5:30 p.m. to order. Mrs. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Mr. Scarce?
Yes.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman?
You're muted. Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman?
Yes.
And Ms. Moore?
Yes, the meeting has been called to order. Madam Vice President, will you please lead us in a pledge of allegiance?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I now need a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved.
I'll second.
It's been properly moved and second. Are there any changes, additions, addendums to go before the board?
Yes, there is. There is one addition that I would like to include, and that is a then and now certificate.
Okay. A then and now certificate. Okay. And you need that for approval, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the agenda so that it reads right after the board report, we will have the treasurer's report. We'll add that as item 4. Underneath that is the then and now certificate action, item for action. In addition to that, superintendent report will be item 5 and adjournment will be item 6 now. Thank you. Any other changes? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Mrs. Bozeman?
Yes.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Norman Scarce?
Yes.
And Ms. Moore?
Yes, the agenda has been adopted. I now need a motion to adjourn into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official, or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee, official, or licensee, or regulated individual per BOE Policy 0166 and ORC 121.22 G1 and B to discuss the details relative to the security arrangements and emergency response protocols for a public body or a public office per ORC 121.22 G6. Official should be taken.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Great. We have a motion and we have a second on the floor. Any questions? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Mrs. Jeter Freeman?
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman?
Yes.
Mr. Scarce?
Yes.
And Ms. Moore?
Yes, motion passes. We will adjourn into executive session. It's 5:34 p.m. and we will resume back into the meeting thereafterwards. Thank you. So we will go to our special link that was sent by Luke for the executive session.
Yes, ma'am. And this is going to stay live.
Okay. And that will be Mr. Howard, please, Dr. Cosby, and Ms. Allen. We are now back into our special meeting. Time is 6:21. Next item, board report. And the board report is item A, approval of amendment to treasurer's contract. I need a motion.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Scares,
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman,
Yes.
and Ms. Moore.
Yes, motion passes. Next item, and that would be item 4 under treasurer's report. We have a then and now.
President Moore, do you want me to present that document so that the board can see the
Could you
document?
please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Mhm. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So I am asking for approval this evening for the following then and now certificate. And this is under the Ohio Revised Code 5705.41. Anytime that there is an invoice prior to a purchase order being approved, I have to bring it to the board for approval. And so the invoice date was June 26, 2020. The vendor was DP&L, and it was for electricity to Westbrook Village. At the end of the year, we close out the former year and have to open the new year. And a lot of times these type of invoices get crossed because we actually close out the purchase order. The purchase order was on, we close that out at the end of the year. If you remember, we had a board meeting on, I think, the 27th. So we had closed this purchase order out. So when we open the new year, the purchase order, then the date of the purchase order would have been after July 1st. And so then that qualified this particular then and now, so that I had to bring it to the board. So President Moore graciously approved me bringing or walking this in tonight, because yesterday, as Ms. Riley was going through unpaid bills, she did run across this particular invoice.
Thank you, Ms. Allen. I need a motion on the floor for treasurer's item A.
I'll move.
No second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Can you okay, I hope you can hear me. Mrs. Jeter Freeman,
Yes.
Mr. Scares,
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
and Ms. Moore.
Yes, motion passes. Next item up is item 5, superintendent's report. Dr. Cosby.
Hello. Okay, our first one is A, remote learning plan for submission to ODE. So as you know, we do have our remote learning plan that we have shared on our website and shared with everyone, and that's us going 100% remote. This plan is a little different. You do have an attachment that shows it. The state has asked that all school districts send in a plan, and they ask that you get, that you notify your board, and if you can, they would like for you to have approval. So that's what we are asking for approval for our plan. It's not due until August 21st, but I wanted you all to have a chance to look at it, read through it. It does go into some of the things that we've talked about, they ask about equity issues. They ask about what are the protocols for staff and for learning. And also it's a very good plan. We have been encouraged to use that particular one, remote learning, instead of any others blended, or even people who are doing other things were encouraged to use the remote learning because it covers everything. So I'm asking that you all, take some time, look through that plan, and hopefully give approval before we send it off in August. But I just wanted to make sure you had a chance to look at it. As for our plan, and I did want to add this now while we're talking that we have, I wanted to invite our parents to, on July 28th, we're going to have what parents need to know about our plan. We're going to be holding meetings that'll be virtual. It's at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. on July 28th. So we would love to have as many people who have questions or would like to get information. Really, we're going to be sharing out what we're doing more so than answering questions, but we'll take them in the chat box and respond to them as we can. So we're excited about it. We're ready to share it with people. We have already put it out in one way, but now we think that this would be helpful. We're also looking to build a FAQ, frequently asked questions, so that we can post that and keep updating things as they change. So that's where we are with remote learning plan for submission to ODE. Does anybody have any questions on that?
Okay, one moment. I'm sorry.
Are there any policies we might need to look at to change as a result of this?
There are going to potentially be some policies that may need to be changed. For example, we do have to assess our students, and we are asked in that plan, how will we be doing that? I was on a superintendent's meeting today with all the Montgomery County superintendents, and one of the things that, we talked about was determining how that will happen, and that may require like a policy change for this current time. So yes, as those things come up, I will be bringing those forward.
Is there a policy recommendation that's already been drafted, or is it going to be specific to Trotwood?
So our attorneys, it'll be specific because our attorneys will help us develop them, but there will be guidance on them. So for example, the one about assessment, which was what sort of came up today, because there's a lot of questions about how will you know, how the students are doing, how are we assessing them? Also, attendance will be another one. How are we keeping track of attendance? And the guidance for that is a little loose. So if it stays that way, then we have to set in place how we would like for that to go. So yeah, we'll be working with our attorneys to, develop what those policies will be.
Okay.
In addition to that, Ms. Moore, I'm going to reach out to Norm from Neola just to see if they've already drafted some policies.
We're meeting with Norm
perfect.
coming up soon. And so Norm may have some policy changes, but we have that meeting scheduled. I can let you know when that is.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It says it's on for information. So your other item, Dr. Cosby?
Yes. My second item is approval of changes to the 2020-21 school calendar. Again, I know you have a copy, so I will let you know so that you can see for sure what those changes are. It's not very many, but what we changed was the start and end time for teachers. All teachers will report at 8 and they will work till 3:30. Our teachers doing this remote learning process will be coming into work, and there will be guidelines for them as they come in, like social distancing and wearing their masks and all, but we felt like it was important for them to have access to their resources, to have the ability to collaborate in a socially distanced way with one another. Also, if we have the need for IEP meetings and things like that, we wanted them to be available. So for 4 days a week, our teachers will be coming into the buildings. On a 5th day, we will not have anyone in those buildings in our teacher buildings, because we need to do the cleaning and all. So that's one change. The second change is the start date for our students. We've moved it to August 24th. Teachers will start on the same day, August 4th. And that's because we want that time to make sure we get in some professional development and give them the opportunity to make sure they're as prepared as possible. This is a new way of educating our students. So we're going to have that time to do that work. Students would not come in until the 24th. We also did put the grading period dates on this calendar. And we wanted to keep things basically for the teachers the same as we voted, on when they did the calendar. So there are no changes to the teacher's schedule, except for the time coming in and out, but the hours are the same. And that's all for that.
Okay. I need a motion. I'm sorry. It's
Go ahead, I'm
for
sorry.
action, so I'll get a motion on the floor and we'll open it up for questions, if that's okay. Okay. I need a motion for superintendent item B. Approval to changes to the 2020-2021 school calendar.
So moved.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Yes, questions, Mr. Scares.
Just in relation to the virtual learning experience, for things like, and I don't know, maybe you'll answer this at some other time, or had planned to answer this some other time, but for things like bus drivers who won't be driving for 9 weeks, how does that work out in the plan in terms of their compensation and things along those lines?
Right. Well, the first 9 weeks, we do plan to compensate them as we have, because what we're going to do is repurpose them, and we are going to be monitoring, how this works out. But we're going to have, for example, our bus drivers will be assisting the cafeteria staff in making and distributing weekly meals to all of our students. The thing about that is maybe hard to imagine, but they're going to be putting together each week 7 days worth of meals, or Marlon, correct me if I may be misspeaking on that, but 5 or 7 days, a week's worth of meals for our students. That'll be one of the things they're doing. Our paras are going to serve as tutors, and they're going to work as teacher assistants, helping them in their classrooms, so that they will be, when the teacher's online with the students, they will be there to help check the chat box, to answer questions. They may go out in little meetings and work with them. Our parent engagers, our MAP monitors, who were the student engagers, we're going to have them contacting parents, and they're going to be looking at attendance, helping with people who have tech issues, making sure our tech department knows those things. And they will also potentially be assigned to teachers to help them as well. So at this point, for the first 9 weeks, we feel pretty confident that we will need their services to get us up and really going and to do this right. One of the things that I really want everybody to know is that we do not intend to do a repeat of what happened in the spring. And again, not just to Trotwood, but across the country. Everybody felt like the education was not up to par. And we really want to show and do right by our students with education. So we're going to use all hands on deck. We're going to have everybody pitching in, so we know where the kids are, what they're doing. If they have any problems, we will get them assistance, and we are going to feed them all. So that's what we're planning to do for the first 9 weeks.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome. Thank you.
Any other questions? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Mr. Scares,
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman,
Yes.
and Ms. Moore.
Yes, motion passes. I now need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? The only thing that I have is, Ms. Bozeman, when we opened the meeting, you shared a piece. Could you share that piece that came out today?
It has the registration process on this side, and Reva kind of introduces herself.
Oh, that's scary.
Nice. Very nice.
That's real nice. Also, you mentioned that you're going to set up the town hall meetings, and we'll get that out, correct, Dr. Cosby?
Yeah. Yes, we're already working on advertising.
Okay. Do you have a specific date in mind?
Yeah. The date is July 28th, and the times are 2 p.m. and 7 p.m.
Okay.
If we
July.
do another one, we would.
Okay. So July 28th. So that's next Tuesday, correct? So
Yeah.
next Tuesday? All right. And they'll all be virtual, correct?
Correct.
Perfect. I'll be looking forward to seeing that on the website. Make sure we get it on all our social media platforms and maybe even all calls so that parents understand what we're trying to do and that they get the information. Okay. Anything else, board? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Scares,
Yes.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
and Ms. Moore.
Yes. Motion passes. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Have a great one. We'll see you next month. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.